Well, let's see. Are there any other topics we should discuss, or if you have any questions for me, or anything
yes,
people might want to know about?
Because I want to ask, and many people are interested in that. So, why do you believe that flying to Mars and populating Mars is your top priority topic, the SpaceX? And when do you think, when will you be ready to have a human expedition to Mars? If you allow, if I may ask this question, because everyone is interested. So these are great projects, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think at a very high level, I think sort of like what set of actions are going to lead to the long-term prosperity of civilization. The sort of a growth in the scale and scope of consciousness. To the best of our knowledge, we are the only place with life, or certainly the only place with life that is intelligent in some form. A lot of people think, oh, there must be aliens, but I've not seen any evidence of aliens. And if the archaeological records are correct, Earth is 4.5 billion years old, but civilization, as measured from the first writing, is only about 5,000 years old, which is about 1/1,000,000th of Earth's existence. So all of human civilization is a tiny flash in the pan so far. And so we have to say, well, what steps can we take to ensure the long-term survival of life as we know it, of consciousness? And if we are a multi-planet species, the probable lifespan of consciousness is dramatically greater than if we are a single planet species. This is not to say that I think that Earth is about to die or anything like that, but there is some risk. If there is a global thermonuclear war with some extreme natural event, like a giant, meteor that hits the Earth that causes a mass extinction event. I mean, if we look at the fossil record, there are at least 5 extreme mass extinction events that would have just basically extinction events that would have destroyed all of humanity completely. There's 5 of them at least, and so I think if we should take this opportunity today, because for the first time in the 4.5 billion year history of Earth, it is possible to extend life and to extend consciousness beyond Earth. And that window of opportunity may be open for a short time, or it may be open for a long time. But just in case it is open for a short time, we must take advantage of this window and as quickly as possible become a multi-planet species and ensure the long-term survival of civilization.
So what is your time frame for a expedition, like for the first human expedition?
Well, yeah. So to be clear, what matters is not so much the sort of flags and footprints, but the establishment of a self-sustaining city on Mars, where the critical threshold is where the city can grow independent of Earth. Meaning, if the resupply ships from Earth stop coming for any reason, that the Mars colony does not die out. That's if we are able to reach that point, then we have passed one of the very important and fundamental Fermi great filters. There's this idea of like, well, why don't we see evidence of intelligent life? Well, there's this idea that there are these various great filters that these civilizations never pass, and one of those great filters is never going beyond your home planet. So if we can pass the Fermi great filter of being a single planet species, and to be clear, if we are a single planet species, it is just a matter of time before we are annihilated. One can argue about how long it will take, but eventually there will be something that happens that annihilates civilization. It might be very far in the future, but we simply know from the fossil record, as I mentioned, that there have been at least mass natural extinction events. And I think there's added risk for humans that we could destroy ourselves, because the dinosaurs did not have thermonuclear weapons. So they also didn't have spaceships. So we've got the risk of thermonuclear war that could destroy everyone, but we also have spaceships that can make life multiplanetary. And but to answer your question more directly, I think we can send uncrewed starships to Mars in approximately 2 years. So Earth and Mars Earth and Mars align for planetary transfer roughly every 2 years, every 26
years. Yes. 2 years.
Yes. So the Earth obviously takes a year to go around the sun. Mars takes approximately 2 years. And obviously one cannot go to Mars when it is on the other side of the sun from Earth.
Yeah.
So we have to wait for when Mars is in roughly the same quadrant of the solar system as Earth. And that occurs for about 6 months every 2 years. And the optimal transfer window is typically just a few months. So for a few months every 2 years, or every 26 months, you can transfer to Mars. So there's currently a Mars transfer window, which means that the next one is in 2 years from now. Mm-hmm. And then there'll be another one 2 years after that. So for the one in 2 years, I think we can send uncrewed starships to land on Mars to test that the landing systems are working properly. Mm-hmm. We want to make sure that we don't, add more craters to Mars.
Yeah, that would be.
The crater count increment must be 0. Mm-hmm. And once we prove that it is safe to land, then if all the ships we send in about 2 years land safely, and we think we understand the issues, then in principle, that in about 4 years you could send the first people, and then then the number of ships can expand exponentially from that point. Mm-hmm. I mean, as a rough order of magnitude, my guess is that we need to transport about a million tons of cargo to Mars to make it self-sustaining. When things are very uncertain, I think if you can even guess to within one order of magnitude, you're doing quite well. So I suspect probably 100,000 tons is maybe not enough, and hopefully we don't need 10 million tons. So therefore, my guess is hopefully 1 million tons is enough to make Mars self-sustaining. Wow. So maybe it's a million tons of cargo to serve to Mars and about 1 million people or more. So that's really what matters. The critical threshold from the standpoint of a fundamental branching of the future of civilization is that point of reaching on Mars where Mars can grow by itself, even if resupply ships from Earth stop coming. At that point, the future of civilization branches, and to a good branch.
Wow.
And probable lifespan of civilization is dramatically greater.
Yes.
And my guess is that there will be cases where the future Martians actually come and help and rescue Earth, and when there is an emergency. Just as America has helped to rescue the rest of the world in World War I and II and the Cold War. And where would the world be if not for America helping out in those three circumstances? So I think that there's a good chance Mars helps save Earth at some point in the future, maybe many times. Yeah. And then once we have a civilization on Mars, we can expand to the rest of the solar system, to the larger asteroids like Ceres, maybe to the moons of Jupiter and Saturn and beyond, at least through the rest of the solar system. And then, and then we go from being hopefully a multi-planet civilization to, at some point, a multi-stellar civilization, and we're out there among the stars. And then we can try to find out what is the nature of the universe. Perhaps when we go to and visit these faraway star systems, we will discover the remains of long dead alien civilizations. I think that would be incredibly interesting. For sure, it will greatly improve our understanding of the nature of the universe.
Absolutely.
Dramatically.
Yes.
So, and things that like the timescales are just remarkable to think about. I mean, physics suggests that the universe is about 13.8 billion years old. I mean, even the elements in our body that aren't hydrogen, like any heavier elements had to be formed in the center of a star, and so a large part of our body was actually formed in the center of a star, and that star exploded, and then the elements recondensed, ultimately billions of years later to form Earth and humans. So when you think about these timescales, they were really remarkable to think about. But a civilization that lasted 1 million years. So our civilization, so I think a good metric for saying when does a civilization start, I think, is maybe writing. If you can pick anything, I'd pick that. That's only 5,000 years ago. So for a civilization to, like, let's say, last an incremental 1 million years, that's an enormous amount of time as compared to the length of human civilization, but it's very small compared to the age of the universe. You'd have to go 3 digits past the decimal point of 13.8 billion years just to increment 1 million years.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we may find when we go out there and explore these star systems that there were alien civilizations. Maybe they lasted for millions of years, much longer than we've lasted.
Mm-hmm.
And I think any civilization that can last 1 million years is going to be in the Hall of Fame. This is an incredibly long time. So anyway, and I think as for humanity, we don't want to be one of those lame one planet civilizations. Like, any self-respecting civilization should have at least 2 planets. So that's what we should aim for.
Wow. If you so you just said that the human body comprises of elements of an exploded and then reordered elements, right? So do you think that this coincidentally happened, or do you believe in God? I'm just curious. Because many people say, okay, this cannot have been a coincidence. That cannot, right? So it just could have been God. So do you believe in God?
Well, I'm open to believing in things proportionate to the information that I receive. So, so I mean, I guess I have sort of a physics view of reality, which is, I guess I'm trying to understand the universe as much as possible to understand what's going on. I'm certainly open to the idea of God, and if you say, like, well, where did the universe come from? How was it created? I suppose there would be some entity that you could call God. I don't know. But that's a separate question from, say, is there some entity that is observing our daily actions and rendering a moral verdict on what we do from day to day? That doesn't appear to be the case, because at least there's some very evil things that happen in the world, and if there's someone observing us on a moral basis continually, then it does seem odd that some very evil things are allowed to occur. But maybe that is the case. I don't know. I try to form my opinions based on what I learn, and as I learn more, I aspire to change my views to match what I learn.
Yeah, same here. To be honest, I'm still on a search. I don't know what to believe. So it's called maybe a agnostic. And but it's very interesting to see how the world and also the universe evolved. It was incredibly interesting to listen to your visions. It's quite a vision for every one of us.
Yeah, I would say that what I have is a philosophy of curiosity. So I'm curious about the nature of the universe, and I would say I subscribe to the Douglas Adams school of philosophy that was described in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Um, you know, and in that book, the Earth was sort of a giant computer that was trying to answer the question, "What is the meaning of life?" And then it comes back with the 42, and they're like, "What does 42 mean?" And it's actually the answer is the easy part, and the question is the hard part. So that was actually quite an illuminating thing for me, because I had sort of an existential crisis when I was 12 or 13 about the meaning of life, and I read many the religious texts and the books on philosophy. It's like reading Schopenhauer, Nietzsche, and whatnot, which is a bit depressing if you're to read as a child. But
Why?
ultimately, well,
Why did?
they're a bit negative. So at times, it's actually, it makes more sense reading it as an adult. But then I read The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is really a book in philosophy in the form of humor, and I think it kind of really illustrates that I thought was very insightful. That we should basically try to understand the nature of the universe, and in fact understand even what questions to ask about the answer that is the universe. And so that led me to conclude that we should aspire to expand the scope and scale of consciousness so that we're better able to know what questions to ask about the answer that is the universe. So we should just seem to take the set of actions that lead to a greater understanding of the universe.
Wonderful. Actually, these are perfect last words, to be honest, for our conversation, because I don't know right now, like what to continue, because these no, really, because these words are so beautiful. So I would just like screw it up, and it was wonderful. It was it was wonderful talking to you, and listening to your views of mankind, and also to have an idea of your vision. It's very visionary, and yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, it's been a pleasure speaking, and I hope people listen to this conversation and find it helpful. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Elon.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Bye.
Welcome, Alice. Thank you for joining Spaces, and I look forward to this discussion, and perhaps we could